built and established over time. Whether it's a connection between you and your business partners or your company and your consumers. At Eastern Communications, we believe in a strong and personal connection. In prioritizing both our high-tech and our high-touch solutions, we bring back the human connection in the ever-expanding industry of information and communications technology. In doing so, we've amassed a wide array of various solutions designed to not only improve our clients' businesses, but to also create seamless experiences for their own customers. This is why customized solutions and strong connections matter so much to us. Keep your company files safe and secure through data centers and clouds of your business. We understand just how important proper collaboration and communication are to the success of a business, which is why we can offer your company the proper tools needed to enhance collaboration efficiency, all while maintaining an agile and flexible network that is scalable to the size of your company. These collaboration tools are key to developing your business's continuity and are easily accessible at any time and from any device, all while maintaining the security your company needs. Speaking of security, no matter what stage of a cyber attack you are in, Eastern Communications will always ensure that your company is prepared with the help of the Cyber Defense Suite. From before the attack happens, during the time it's in progress, and even after it begins to damage systems and steal information, Eastern Communications is equipped with products and services for every phase. Eastern also provides relevant managed services that suit your company's needs. That way, you can better focus on running your business and leave the technical aspect up to us. Of course, every business needs reliable connectivity in order to maintain its day-to-day processes. Our world-class data services ensure the smoothest flow of data and information for your company. Together, we can help you create personalized networks that are well-suited for your company's specific needs, containing all of the benefits with none of the hassle. If it's internet you need, Eastern Communications Internet Services can provide your company with fast connections and high bandwidth availabilities. This way, you have access to flexible speeds and stronger connections to the internet. Lastly, we want to help you establish your own strong connections with your company's partners and customers. Eastern's voice services offers seamless solutions for your customer service needs and easily connects you to your customers. These are only some of the many solutions and services that Eastern Communications has established over the years for our many partners. And while we still have a long way to go, you can be sure that Eastern Communications will continue to be your partner and take you from where you are now to where you want to go. Together, we can all finish strong for our tomorrow. These days, a lot of companies are changing their business model and shifting to digital in order to keep up with the new normal. With this shift comes a new dynamic threat landscape that some companies aren't equipped to handle. Companies need a strong defense system in place in order to keep confidential files and data safe. The proper defense against these threats requires control across all phases of a cyber attack. From before the attack happens, during the time it's in progress, and even after it begins to damage systems and steal information. This is why Eastern Communications has ideal high-tech and high-touch products designed for every stage of the attack continuum, ensuring that your company has only the best in cybersecurity. Before an attack even takes place, your company needs products that discover cyber threats, enforce a strong defense system, and harden that protection so that the threats don't break through. First, secure a next-generation firewall. This will filter network traffic to protect an organization from external threats. They also possess deeper inspection capabilities that give them a superior ability to identify attacks, malware, and other threats. Eastern's next-gen firewall continually evolves. Not only does it block malware, but it also includes paths for future updates, ensuring it is flexible enough to evolve with the landscape and keep the network secure as new threats arise. It is also equipped with a virtual private network, so that your employees can securely send and receive data in the company network. Now let's take a look at the solutions that can come into play during the time a cyber attack is in progress. Distributed denial of service is a specific type of cyber attack that disrupts normal traffic to targeted critical business applications and services, leading to angry customers and potential brand damage. Eastern's DDoS protection is capable of mitigating any type of attack on any website and is fully managed by a responsive, round-the-clock operations team, ensuring every real web visitor is never denied service. Another product is a web application firewall, which can help defend your company from malicious web traffic. Unlike regular firewalls, a WAF filters the content of specific web applications to catch harmful web traffic that other security measures might miss. Lastly, we have endpoint security solutions. During a cyber attack, these protect end-user devices such as company laptops, desktops, and mobile devices from being exploited by malware or other kinds of cybersecurity threats. Finally, to ensure maximum protection, let's look into the solutions your company needs after a cyber attack has begun damaging your network or stealing your information. First, you will require a managed security operations center, which provides 24/7 security monitoring as well as access to a shared team of fully trained cybersecurity professionals. To round off your company's impenetrable defenses, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing are crucial. These are security testing services your company can benefit from after a cyber attack. These testing systems focus on identifying vulnerabilities in your company's server and network infrastructure. Afterwards, it gives your organization a detailed view of potential threats, enabling your company to adapt and better prepare your defenses for future attacks. As your company makes the transition to more and more digital services and protocols, take that extra measure to protect your organization from outside threats. It's important to keep your company's network and data secure through every phase of a cyber attack. In the new normal of business in the digital landscape, let Eastern Communications provide your company with the cybersecurity it needs to stay safe and have a strong tomorrow. Emergency situations and global crises has had a profound influence on how people live and work, with many employers adapting remote work arrangements. Aside from a stable internet connection and the right productivity tools, companies and employees must ensure that their devices and data can be securely accessed, as if they were still in the office. Which is why Eastern Communications presents the Eastern Teleworker Gateway. Eastern Teleworker Gateway is an enterprise-class firewall, virtual private network gateway, and router. Each model is designed to securely extend cloud-managed networking for employees, IT staff, and executives working remotely. It allows administrators to deploy network services including voice over internet protocol and remote endpoints with automatic zero. It's easy to set up. Creating a new remote site is as simple as adding a remote network in your company's user dashboard. Once you've keyed in the access points and SSIDs of your employees, everyone automatically has access to your company's secure network. Eastern Teleworker Gateway also provides secure access to your company's main network from anywhere, with remote access points automatically establishing a secure connection to the company head office. This allows effective forklifting of your office to your employees' homes. It lets your company stay connected with voice and data by granting administrators the capability to monitor and manage the entire remote office infrastructure through a private company telephone network. Finally, with centralized management, problems can be diagnosed remotely using built-in real-time diagnostic tools. Even small-scale IT staff can be empowered to manage large distributed networks via the internet from anywhere. Eastern Teleworker Gateway is the ideal solution for teleworkers based at home, small branch offices, temporary sites like events and conferences, and your employees in the field. This ensures that your employees and executives have the same in-office network experience while working remotely. This is just one of many solutions that Eastern Communications can provide your company in order to maintain your strong connection, not just for your customers but for your employees as well. With Eastern Teleworker Gateway, we can help your company move towards our strong tomorrow.
A pleasant afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As we build a stronger business, Eastern Communications is here to ask you, are you ready to explore limitless opportunities and make a fearless transformation?
The past year was difficult for our country, its people, and the businesses we've built to keep ourselves afloat. Even now, local enterprises all over the country are still struggling to bounce back and recover what they've lost while still dealing with the ever-present challenges caused by the pandemic's persistence. Challenges like acquiring new clients, meeting the needs of their current customer base, holding physical meetings, communicating with colleagues in different parts of the country, or even manufacturing, sourcing, and delivering their products and services. The truth is, many businesses are unsure of how to keep up with the digital capabilities of other companies who are able to thrive because they can adapt their brick-and-mortar businesses to online platforms or create e-commerce spaces where they can still offer their services at the tap of a finger or a click of the button. In order to bounce back, it's crucial to transition to the digital space. We need a strong connection to a digital solutions provider that can help us take that fearless step forward. How can we adjust to the now normal? Where can we find the digital lifeline needed to give every business an equal footing in this new era of online spaces and technological solutions? As we continue to fearlessly transform and innovate, we must never lose sight of what makes our connections strong. Let Eastern Communications be that very digital lifeline for your company. In the past and up until today, Eastern's strong connections have been helping bridge the gap and empower businesses to upgrade their services in order to better serve their clients' evolving needs. Through our wide variety of high-tech products and solutions, your company can also adapt to the now normal. Which is why, during this difficult time, we want to remind you that you aren't alone. Together with Eastern Communications, let us open new doors and create wider avenues in the digital space. Together, we can all innovate and improve in order to fearlessly move forward and stride strong into a new digital frontier.
All right, everyone, let's get this show on the road. Good afternoon to everybody. I know it's been a minute since we've seen each other, and I'm so happy to be back. If you are new here joining us on E-Huddle, an extra welcome to you. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Carla Barreto, and I'm your host and moderator for E-Huddle. And like I said, I'm just so excited to be here, and I will be with you here for these next few weeks to accompany you on this journey to becoming pandemic-proof. And that's what we've been all about here on E-Huddle. And we're so glad to be taking the next step and the new theme of this series. And last quarter, we talked about inspiring fearless transformation. That was our general overarching topic. And this time around, for these next few sessions, we are going to be exploring limitless opportunities. And so on that note, allow me to formally welcome you all to the Eastern E-Huddle Limitless Opportunities Series. Now we've got a great lineup of speakers to just kick us off for this first session. And I can't wait to unveil all of those. And I'm sure all of you guys are excited to see them as well. So I'm gonna just get the show on the road already, and let's see what our opening message is, shall we? So here to welcome us and jumpstart this series is Eastern Communications Head of Sales. Let's welcome on screen Mr. Michael Castañeda.
It's good to see you again, Carla. Thank you so much. Allow me to start off by thanking you all for taking time to be with us today. We truly appreciate your presence and your continued support for the E-Huddle series. But above all, we are proud that you are always eager to listen and learn through this webinar. As I open this series, I am also reminded that times may change, business landscape may change, and the market may change. But with constant and consistent learning, we can always navigate and rise above challenges. We're already more than halfway through the year, and I should say, Eastern Communications has never been more inspired and more motivated to serve the public than today. Without much ado, I once again welcome you all to the Eastern E-Huddle Limitless Opportunities Series and wish all of you a great time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mike Castañeda, for starting us off on such a good note there. And a really good point there that, you know, this environment that we're in is constantly changing and there are new developments all the time. But, you know, I guess the good news is that we're changing too. And we're keeping up and we're getting better at it. And that's why we're here today. So I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's forge on with this program to our keynote speaker, shall we? So a little bit about our first speaker. He is recognized among the outstanding young men of the Philippines in 2020 as the prime mover behind the professionalization of the habal-habal or motorcycle taxi industry. He is the co-founder and chief transport advocate of the country's leading app-based motorcycle taxi ride-sharing service. He truly encapsulates what it means to be an outstanding young leader who leads a life of service to humanity and nation building. He has not only alleviated the stigma surrounding motorbikers, but also created countless job opportunities and served as a voice to 18 million Filipinos. Please welcome the Chief Transport Advocate of Angkas, Mr. George Royeca.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is George Rieta, and I would like to thank Eastern Communications for inviting me to the E-Huddle Limitless Opportunities. I want to talk a little bit about leadership through crisis. No? This is really the story of Angkas in our journey. And I hope you find some insights on how to persevere, how to be resilient, especially in times of not just the pandemic, but through pretty much any crisis that may come before you. So before I start my presentation, I'd like to say a very, very good afternoon and heartfelt thank you to all of the employees, to all of the key executives from Eastern for having me today. So we all hear about disruptive innovation. And disruptive innovation, we've seen it in our lifetime, actually. We've seen how Apple has changed the way we use the telephone, right? From where we were back then in mobile phones to now where we are in smartphones. And Apple has really revolutionized that. Netflix has really changed the way we watch movies. Now everything's on demand, everything's online. And of course, my most favorite is Uber, and how they've really disrupted transportation. And it's really changed the way we view this, and we've used it and moved from the old mindset, or old established system, to something new. But what about disruptive innovation that is commonplace now, that we don't even know that it's actually was disruptive back then? Let's say maybe 100 years back. This is actually an ad from John D. Rockefeller against electricity, because he was selling kerosene lamps. So back then, when electricity was introduced, this was met with so much resistance from the existing players, from the existing system. And imagine if John D. Rockefeller won, then we wouldn't have electricity this time. It's really hard to kind of wrap your head around that. No? Also cars, for example, Henry Ford, when he was trying to mass produce the Ford cars, he went to the Michigan Savings Bank. And of course, back then, cars were just really for the elite. And what was prevalent in the market was the horse and buggy. And he was laughed out of town, so to speak, saying that the horse and buggy is here to stay. But he persevered. And even as he persevered, there's a lot of resistance on this new system, this new form of automobile. They called it the devil's wagon. They put in a lot of newspaper ads and a lot of advertisements that made it seem very, very dangerous for people. Which brings us to this very familiar picture in the background. Pre-COVID, this was what we had every single day. During COVID, this kind of left a little bit, but now as we go into the vaccinations, as we go into early recovery of our economy, we see more and more traffic every day come back, because transportation is really an essential part of our everyday lives. And JICA made a report back. They make a series of reports, actually, in terms of the congestion of that one street, right? One main highway in Metro Manila. This main thoroughfare of 20 kilometers actually accounts for a daily loss of 2.4 billion in 2014, around 3.5 billion in 2018, and projected to be 5.5 billion, or close to 5.5 billion in 2035. But see, JICA just talks about the productivity loss. What a lot of people don't realize is the attack on the quality of life that traffic brings to us. Imagine if you were living in Alabang and you're trying to look for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or trying to see friends even in Valenzuela. That would be a long distance relationship in your own metropolitan city, right? And this seems funny to us now, but it's not funny when you see that your potential family or your potential husband and wife, and that pool is significantly decreased just because of traffic, just because of something that's it's supposed to be trivial as traffic. It really affects our daily lives in a big way, and also in a small way, in every small decision we make. Like, for example, parents, they think about the daily commute of their children rather than the merit of the school. Imagine we didn't even have to think about the daily commute. And you can't imagine how many people I've lost, key people I've lost, because we moved headquarters and offices. So, it's really an attack to the quality of life that we have. And without traffic, we can be a lot more productive, and we can see our families more. We can be happier individuals. Which is why Angkas came about. And Angkas was so popular. When we introduced Angkas, it was almost unimaginable what the response was to something back then, which was habal that was thought, looked at as, maybe looked down on, to something that was a little bit more professional. And, the millennials and the youth really just, clung to it. And we had so much social media support. Unfortunately, The government back then also tried their hand at social media, and actually gave us a cease and desist order on Twitter. I really thought this was a joke, because this has never happened before. And I talked to my lawyers, and they haven't experienced it yet. But unfortunately, the joke was on us. And they came to our office and they raided Angkas, and this was the first milestone of Angkas's journey. And I call this milestone, and you'd see later on when I talk about our downs. I call them milestones because this is where we really learn a lot from our mistakes, from our failures, much more so than when we have our successes. We had LTFRB meeting right the next day. Hundreds of bikers went to this, and also passengers and customers. And there was this girl that talked, and I didn't know who she was, and she was almost into tears, and she was talking about living in Antipolo and working in Megamall. So she would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning every single day, and she'd get to work about 9:30. Sometimes she'd get to work quite late, which her work time was about 9 a.m. So she would get deducted because she'd get past the grace period of 15 minutes. She'd leave work at around 7, and then she'd get home at 11 p.m. Rinse and repeat every single day. The biggest problem was she was a single mom, and she was essentially an OFW in her own city, and that's really what was very heartbreaking. Unfortunately, this didn't really pan out, so they still decided to kind of bang the gavel on Angkas, and Angkas was no more. And this is the time the Avengers was really popular back then. So we decided to pivot. This is our first milestone. We pivoted very quickly into curbside partial delivery. We introduced delivery as part of our services. So while I was out of a job essentially in transportation, and we're doing a little bit of deliveries which we weren't known for, I decided to go all around the country. And there was a survey that was done by Social Weather Station, SWS. If you don't know, this is the survey. Companies are very popular that they do presidential surveys now. I'm sure you hear about them. They came out with a survey that showed 1 out of 3 Filipino families own a motorcycle. And half of them depend on these motorcycles for livelihood. 99% of these guys are low-income family households. This is the broad C, D, and E. And this is very important because the Ducatis and the BMWs that you see is less than 1%, right? It's in the rounding error. And I didn't realize the impact that motorcycles had on our population, on our people, and how this was super rooted down in the grassroots. And many low-income family households, many Filipinos, the first purchase, the first thing that they buy as what they recognize to be their path to out of poverty is a motorcycle. That's the first thing that they buy. So I was wondering, why was the government so hell-bent on shutting this down when it was so beneficial to millions of Filipinos? And this was the answer. So before, I thought it was us versus them, good versus evil, but I didn't realize that we were actually talking about the same thing. We wanted safety for our commuters. We wanted a better alternative to commuters. And this was what they had in mind. When regulators thought of motorcycles, this is what they have been used to for decades. And this was not ideal. This was not a good alternative. And I had to agree with them. We had to meet halfway in this. Imagine this is a Skylab where you put 10 people, and you have motorcycles without helmets that are bringing logs up mountain tops, and also putting in more than one person. This was highly dangerous. So we decided to do something about this, and we had to recognize where our enemy or our adversary or our or people that was trying to shut us down, where they were coming from. Why were they feeling the way they were feeling? Why did they have that mindset? And we need to break that mindset one person at a time. So when we were talking about Angkas, this is the picture that they had in their head. We had to change that picture in their head. So from an informal motorcycle transport service, is what they call habal-habal, we needed to redefine what motorcycle taxis were and coin the term motorcycle taxi. It was safe, it was insured. It was this. So we decided to go back to Metro Manila, We unify the different groups, and our battle cry is, do not treat us as criminals. We are not criminals. Many of us didn't know any better, but here we are, professional, and here we are changing the system for the better. So here's just a quick video.
The state of the Metro Manila transport system is dying in the country right now. People are suffering.
We are here to give jobs to millions of Filipinos. Right now, they are regarded by our laws as illegal, and this is not right.
People are losing business opportunities. They are losing about 3.5 billion daily in lost opportunities.
There are 14 million riders in the entire country. All of them depend on motorcycles for their livelihood.
14 million bikers are riding on a daily basis. At ang kasi na mag-isa sa bawat araw, it's 28 million. Isn't that mass transportation?
They continue to close their eyes, they continue to ignore over and over and over again.
Nakikita naman po natin ang pila ng MRT, napakahaba. Nakikita po natin yung P2P buses, hindi po sufisyente. Yung TNBS, kulang-kulang. Tayo ang solusyon dito po sa ating kahirapan.
You guys are one of the most trained motorcycle riders in the country. You guys have gone through safety training, certification, may insurance.
Nag-iisip din yung pamahalan kung paano mabawasan ang traffic. Tinutulungan na natin sila mag-isip. Eto na nga.
Di tayo gumagawa ng anumang hakbang na kontra sa ating pamahalaan. Ang pagiging rider natin ang siyang inukontra.
Libo-libo na nais iangat ang kanilang buhay. Dapat po payagan at si Winnie Castelo po ang mangunguna upang iparating sa sambayanan at sa pamahalan ang karahingan ng tao at ang solusyon na may bibigay po ninyo.
We are riding for regulation!
So apart from this, we decided to go viral. We did a music video, apart from our rallies, and in less than 5 days, we had about 1.5 million views. So this was really breakthrough for us, and we didn't know that there was such a large response, positive response in terms of the movement that we were trying to create, in terms of getting regulated. So we weren't saying allow us. We were telling the government, regulate us. Put us under the microscope and let us prove to you that we can run safely for the commuters. So it worked. We went to the courts, and the court granted us an injunction, which meant that they allowed us to operate, despite the government saying that we couldn't operate. So we were happy at this time. So we were operating for a few months. And then unfortunately, the government, still had that very, very strict mindset of what a habal-habal was. And that was not what angkas was. But in their heads, this was dangerous, this was bad. So they went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overrided our injunction and halted our operations once again. So again, this brings us to our second milestone, which really, at this point in time, we were thinking, should we just quit? We tried our best, but we couldn't do it. And it was already the Supreme Court that, overrode our injunction. So we had to be very, very clever. We had to see how we can do it again. And we couldn't just go out on the streets and rally again. It would just be militant. People would just think that every time we don't get what we want, we go out in the streets. And that's not the brand, or that's not the movement that we wanted to create. We wanted to create something real. So we realized that there was something that was very different from angkas. Our safety record spoke for itself. And when we were doing the appeal to the Supreme Court, one of the things that really stuck out was our safety record. 50% plus of all deaths are motorcycle related, of all accidents in the country. And our safety record was 99.997%, which means we had, out of all the millions of rides we were doing about 0.003% accidents. And this was very, very much significantly smaller than the national average. So we decided to find a way on how that can be remembered and how that can stick into people's heads in the most angkas fashion. Something that was very critical, something that was very important, our safety record. We wanted to kind of really get that through people's minds. So we decided to create this campaign to really drive the point to everybody. Our petition, our online petition, within about a couple weeks time, we had about 150,000 signatures to save angkas and support regulations on motorcycle taxis. The legislative body, the Congress and Senate took notice, and Congress passed a resolution backing motorcycle taxis, and the Senate urged DOTR to issue a provisional authority to allow us to operate. And we had, and what happened is eventually we came up with a solution with the regulators, was to create a proof of concept. And this was like a pilot run in Metro Manila and Metro Cebu to see whether we could really prove our safety record to the government. So they allowed us to operate under strict scrutiny of the government while we were operating, and serving customers. And we were proving time and time again that motorcycle taxis was indeed safe. So Angkas was gaining a lot of momentum at this point in time. We trained over 100,000 drivers for free, but we failed about 70% of all of our trainees and onboarded the best of the best. So we're about 30,000 drivers at this time. While 5 million people have downloaded our app and is boasting a safety record, actually one of the most highest safety record in all of the region in Southeast Asia. We had a 99.997% safety record, which meant we had 0.003% accident rate. So we were really focused on the product as well as pushing our movement or our advocacy for regulation. Unfortunately, this brings us to our next milestone, which was when the government tried to cut down our bikers because other players wanted to come in. So they wanted to cut angkas from 30,000 down to 10,000, and losing thousands and thousands of jobs. And we decided to say that to fight back, that this was not fair, because we developed the market, we really pushed the movement, and if you want to bring in new players, then that's fine, but you shouldn't take from our pool. We went out on the streets again and really pushed for this not to happen. And it worked. Thousands supported us in an overwhelming display of unity to really preserve the pool of the Angkas bikers. And we ended up negotiating a very good settlement with the regulators, allowing other players to come in, but really not taking too much from our pool and maintaining that cap. So we were able to resume our operations again under another extended pilot. So we extended the pilot and we're doing very, very well. Unfortunately, another milestone was really coming from over the horizon. And this milestone was COVID-19. So I think this is a milestone for everybody. Everybody can relate to this, all walks of life, all different industries. And what the government was trying to do for the last 3 years, COVID did in one fell swoop. And at this time, transportation was completely shut down. So we had to pivot yet again, very, very, very quickly, very, very early on. So we decided to push our Padala service, which we weren't known for, and also create the Pabili service, which is a concierge service wherein we decided to we allowed customers to actually ask bikers to make them buy stuff for them, groceries, essential goods like medicines and whatnot. Um, and we were pretty honest with the community. We told them that we were big in transportation, but we're not big in deliveries. We're not the best out there, so please help our community. So we also really put money where our mouth was. At this time, we cut our commissions that we take from bikers for every ride to 0%. So 100% of the proceeds would go to the community, and we just decided to help our bikers. And at this point in time, we also partnered with our competitors, Grab, Lala Move, Food Panda, and we started supplying them bikers just so that our bikers had something to eat. And it was quite heartwarming, because when we did this, the community really pulled through for us. They really pulled through. They would call the restaurant saying that I'd order a pizza from you guys, but can you make sure that an Angkas biker would be the one to deliver it to us? And we went from 0 to 20,000 merchants, and we had a thriving business for deliveries. But in Angkas fashion, and really in connection and spirit with the advocacy that we have in terms of pushing for regulation and providing an alternative and safe mode of transportation for our commuters, we had to go back to the drawing board. So I worked very closely with the College of Public Health, University of the Philippines, and also the IATF to figure out a way to make motorcycles safe during the time of the pandemic. So this was yet the same problem, but a different challenge, essentially. So before Angkas came about, Habal-Habal was deemed very unsafe. And because of Angkas and because of the safety protocols we put in our safety record, the government gave their blessing and really now knows, everybody knows, and even the market knows that motorcycle taxis are safe. But then when COVID came in, this made it unsafe again because of the violation of social distancing. So we need to figure out ways and means to be able to correct that mindset and be science-based. So we had College of Public Health. During this time, there was a proposal to weld steel bars on a motorcycle, and we wanted none of that. So we really rushed to create something, a very different and very safe alternative. So we decided to create the concept of wearing the shield instead of welding into the motorcycle, and we hired the Total Control, which is the company, the motorcycle safety firm of the U.S. Marines. So they co-designed this with us. So imagine if it's safe enough for the U.S. Marines, it should be safe enough for our riders. And this was met with so much resistance. So we decided that, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was an ECQ for about 2 weeks because doctors wanted to take a break. So they shut down transportation completely again, and doctors and nurses couldn't get to the hospitals. We decided to take a big gamble. And because Angkas couldn't run for hire, we decided to give Angkas away for free. So for 2 weeks, we were giving rides for free. And after 10,000 rides, there was not a single issue on accidents, and there was not a single issue on COVID spread because of because of motorcycles or motorcycle taxis or angkas for that matter. And we gave away these shields to the LGUs so that their own people could use it, and also their own healthcare workers can use it as well. And it worked. During this time, we ran a campaign. I was the co-lead, Angkas, together with McDonald's Philippines, Margot Torres, for the IATF, where we put in the private sector and we created a new movement of all of the private sector, big private sector brands and companies that would come together to push for safety protocols. And Angkas was a big part of that. This is the first time that you see competing brands working together. You had McDonald's and Jollibee, you had Coke and Pepsi, you had Shell and Petron, all working together. And this is what we produced.
Aangat tayo muli. Ito ang paniniwalang ating panghahawakan. Sa ngayon, pangamba at pagdududa ang pumipigil sa ating ibalik ang dating buhay. Pero aangat tayo muli. Dahil may isang bagay na hindi kayang kunin ng COVID sa atin. Ito ang ating pagiging matibay at determinado. Tayo ang lahing hindi natitinag ng bagyo, lindol, baha, at pagsabog ng bulkan. Paulit-ulit bumabangon, ilang beses manggulpihin ng sakuna. Kaya, aangat tayo muli. Kakayanin natin muli ito. Sa palaging pagsuot ng mask at face shield, paghugas ng kamay, at pagpapanatili ng distansya, hindi mo lang inaalagaan ang iyong sarili. Kung hindi, pati na rin ang mga nakapaligid sa'yo. Sundan natin ang mga ito at magkasamang salubungin ang sikat ng araw sa mga paborito nating lugar. Walang kasiguraduhan ang mga darating na araw. Ang sigurado lang ay kapag isinapuso natin ang pag-iingat, aangat tayo muli. Ingat-angat tayong lahat.
And this was such a successful campaign that quickly soon after, the entire cabinet unanimously, together with the president, decided to bring transportation back and motorcycles back on the road. And this was, we were just very, very happy when this happened. But of course, it was still a battle, still an uphill battle, because it wasn't the same market. Everybody was working from home, and pre-COVID numbers, we were significantly reduced. So we decided to look for other ways to be relevant, other ways for our drivers to help. So we partnered with the Philippine Red Cross, and we're doing a proof of concept with them, wherein you can actually call to get your saliva RT-PCR delivered to you. Then you put in the sample, and then they collect the sample from you and then bring it to the lab, so that you don't have to leave your home to be able to get tested for whatever reason. And because of all of these efforts that we did, we were recognized a little bit. And this earned us actually an award from the TYM Foundation. We were very thankful for that. And this award really represents the collective work of the entire community of all riders nationwide, that really has the same plight every single day. So our latest one was just a week ago, I think. We actually created because we've been working a lot under the National Vaccine Program and helping the LGUs really push for vaccine confidence. So the Angkas Bikers created a song and a dance for the Bakuna Dance Challenge. And then the next day, we were featured in the front page of the newspaper, Inquirer and Star. And this is really our way of keeping the name alive and keeping the community healthy and relevant and helping in service of others. So we still continue to fight till this day, after 4 years, after everything that's happened, after all the milestones that we've experienced, after all the shutdowns, to really change one basic concept. We want to turn this and this mindset of what the motorcycle taxi is, a habal-habal, to essentially this. So which brings me to my last slide, guys. Just some key takeaways that I've learned from our Angkas journey. First is life is about problem solving. Problems are constant in life. So, don't strive to make them go away because they will never go away. If you solve a problem, a lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to solve all these problems. I'm going to work. I'm going to do all these things so that I won't have a problem later on. It doesn't work that way because problems will always be there. So change the approach, change the way you look at problems, get better at solving them, get better at receiving them and embracing them. And if you have that kind of mindset, then you're set for life. Then whatever problems come your way, you won't get frustrated. So, if you are going to work, if you are going to open a company, if you are going to be an employee, if you are going to do your job, if you're going to wake up every single day, then you might as well solve a real problem. You might as well solve something that is really needed. Because when you solve a real problem, you realize that people will gladly pay you for it. Gladly, you'll have such positive reception, whether it's payment or just receiving it positively. They will have really, really. You don't have to market so much when you're actually solving a problem for them. I always look at this, and my wife's Singaporean, and we always have this. We joke around with each other that, where should we be, Singapore or Philippines? And of course, Singapore is really just a comfortable life. And they're so efficient there. And the problem with something that is living in a place where there's so much efficiency, there's nothing for you to do, right? There's no opportunity. There's no opportunity to change things, to solve things, and get, create opportunities from that, whether it's financial opportunities or others. So if there are no problems, there's no business. So I look at Philippines as a place where there's thousands and tens of thousands of opportunities every single day. Now, if you are solving a real problem, there's less marketing that you need to do. I did say that earlier, but nothing ever markets itself completely, right? ATM was introduced back in the 1950s, a complete flop. and now ATMs are everywhere. Same thing with Starbucks, right? When they started to create the concept and the lifestyle of coffee, nobody bought it in the very beginning, but look at it now. It's in every single corner. It took them years of marketing. So don't ever believe your own hype. Don't ever drink your own Kool-Aid. And every marketer always thinks that they have the best, product, or they have the best, thing. And you have to market it, even it's the best thing. If fire was introduced to us today, people would still have to market fire. Like I said, electricity, something that's so commonplace now, something that's quite it's in your head, is it should be normal, wasn't normal back then, and it had to be marketed. Advertising today is not anymore a passive medium. It's not like television before, wherein you would put up an ad. It would take you about three months to really get a response from the market, and the response was really whether you had product uplift or uptake. But social media is a two-way street. So it has instant gratification. It has instant response, almost instantaneous. Within 24 hours, you'll know what you put out there, whether people like it or not. But so never underestimate your audience. A lot of people, a lot of companies make the mistake of always putting their best foot forward. But that's not how you in social media, but that's not how you create a relationship. You have to not be afraid to engage them truthfully, because transparency is where you build real relationships. If you had a friend and that friend was always being nice to you and always being putting their best foot forward but not being true to you, then that's not really that's not really a relationship. Which is why it's the same thing that you do it for social media, because you are talking to real people directly. As a brand, you are doing that, so you need to create that real relationship. And last but not least, I always say this, and I know it sounds cliche, but please take this to heart: the sun will always rise tomorrow. Obviously, it will always rise tomorrow, no matter what happens. You have a bad day today, you have a real problem today, your life sucks today, you're super depressed today, you're super happy today, you get a new job today, you get married today, you get your first child today, you get a promotion today, you get an increase in your salary today. Tomorrow the sun will always rise. It doesn't matter, it doesn't care what happened to you the night before. So the question is, what state will you be in tomorrow when the sun does rise, no matter what your problems are? So guys, I hope that you've really learned some bits, and taking a little bit of inspiration from Danka's journey, and put it and apply it somehow in your own journey. Never give up, be resilient. And if you apply some of these things, I know that there's no way but success for you guys, because you will never give up until you find a solution and you get your way. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. Bye-bye.
George Royeca there on disruptive innovation. So many great takeaways from that. I mean, I've been taking notes myself here, and really such great points that, number one, anything new will be met with resistance. And, all those examples he gave about electricity and the like, that really was the journey, and we all got to witness that. And if I may add in my own personal experience with Angkas, if you told me 5 years ago that one day, that in 5 years from now, I would be owning a motorcycle helmet despite not owning a motorcycle, or anyone in my household owning a motorcycle, I probably wouldn't believe you. But I myself am a loyal customer of Angkas, and it's so good to see this story, unfolded before us. And great mindset as well to turn hurdles into milestones. And I think many of us here today will be able to apply the same. So anyways, let's keep the ball rolling here, shall we? Let me introduce our next speaker of the day, and let's see who it's gonna be. Our next speaker is a regional sales director at Cato Networks and is responsible for Asia and the Pacific. He works in the field of cloud networking and security as a service, helping enterprises optimize and secure their wide area networks. Prior to Cato, he spent 15 years in senior roles at Telstra, Superloop, and Inabox Group, serving clients and partners across various sectors with their global connectivity needs. Eric has an MBA from the University of Technology, Sydney. Let's welcome our partner speaker, the Regional Sales Director at Cato Networks, Mr. Eric Cheng.
Hey guys, thank you, Carlo, for the invitation to the next Eastern E-Huddle series. So we're here to talk about limitless opportunities for for the retail, manufacturing, and logistics space. Great to be here again today. For those that haven't met me, so my name's Eric Cheng. I'm from Cato Networks, based out of Hong Kong, one of the regional sales directors. And today I'm going to share with you some interesting technology that may be able to help you in the post-pandemic world. I'm going to share a few insights on what we're hearing from other enterprises and insights for the market as well. And hopefully you can, if you've got any questions at the end, feel free to jump in as well. Okay, so Cato, we're a SASE company. For those that haven't heard of SASE before, it's called a Secure Access Service Edge. And what we're helping a lot of organizations go through is digital transformation. So what I'm going to start off with is share a little bit of insight from a recent survey that McKinsey did this year, talking to enterprises on how they managed in the post-pandemic world and what digital transformation. And a lot of people are talking about digital transformation to help them be better equipped to compete in the market today, right? So what was very interesting about this survey is for organizations that have already embarked on the digital transformation journey, or at least with plans to, were able to act significantly better than their peers that hadn't started some sort of digital transformation. So the benefit of digital transformation is you're able to act more agilely, you're more cost efficient, right? And most importantly, you're able to compete in the world that we live in, which is a very cloud-based world, right? Everything is automated. How am I able to manage my entire business through the changes in my consumers, my customers, my employees across the board, right? So that was quite interesting from McKinsey. But when you talk about, the key business pains and what we hear from CIOs, fundamentally, the business requirements are almost similar across the board, right? Companies are either going through a merger and acquisition, a global expansion, right? They may be looking for rapid deployment to be able to react quickly to in customer demand, or they could be looking to take advantage of, cloud technologies to be able to provide better service to their customers and internal users as well. But all of these key business requirements run into the same similar pain points, right? So things like an inconsistent network, right? So if you're with all these applications, users all around the world, right? You need a reliable network, and globally, right, across the internet, it's very expensive to be able to provide that. They also could be running into very poor or no security. So you see a lot in the media right now. People have been subject to ransomware, malware, right? There's a lot of organizations who aren't quite ready to move to cloud, right? They may not have the skill set yet, the technology, or an understanding of how they can take advantage of these, right? And through COVID, right, this has accelerated the need to have reliable support for your work from home users, right? People who were traditionally all working in the office, right? IT infrastructure and solutions were all built for people in the office and in stores, right? So how do you support the remote workforce as well, right? But these can all be summarized, right? We need reliable global unified network. We need something that is a cloud-based security system. So you've got security delivered readily available everywhere. You need to be able to be cloud ready to take advantage of all the capability out in the network to be able to compete better. And mobile optimization is critical for all users around the world. When you take a bigger look into, what are the systematic issues that are happening within enterprises, right? From the traditional approach of how we used to manage network and security in the past, right? It boils down into probably about 5 key things. One thing is around agility, right? So legacy solutions have always traditionally been very slow and manual, right? They take a lot of change process, user acceptance, evaluations, testing, configuration, right? But what we really need and people are asking for is something that is very fast, right? The business is very demanding. How do we get something that is zero touch provisioning that can provide with, any type of connectivity, right? Things are being very costly, right? As users, etc., and more consuming more and more applications, more internet, right? The costs are getting extremely higher, right? all the different technology that's coming out is adding additional cost into the network. So how do we make that more capital efficient, right? Things aren't very flexible, right? So you got a lot of solutions that you would buy and invest in a CapEx type environment for multiple years, right? But what people are looking for is flexibility, right? How do I manage this in an OpEx style management where I can pay as you go? You see the adoption of things like Netflix, Spotify, Office 365, which are all cloud-based consumption models. You look at security, right? Over the years, more and more solutions. There's a new company, a new feature, or a new product that's launched every week, right? And these have traditionally been provided by hardware vendors that provide you this box or an appliance that sits in your office or your data center, right? And it all has to be backhauled, so it's not very efficient, right? And expensive to manage, right? And overall, right, when you pull and stitch all these different solutions and network and security capability, right, you either have to do it yourself and employ a large team of network engineers, security engineers, cloud, and you have to do it yourself. Or you shift all these problems to a managed service provider, which doesn't remove that complexity, but actually just makes it go away, but also increase your costs because it's a fully managed service offering from somebody else. So I guess if you look at the historical way that we've managed network and security, not exactly the ideal state, whereas what we're looking for is something that is very optimized, very secure, and readily available anywhere around the world, right? What's also very interesting is the world and the traffic has changed significantly, right? So many network architects and engineers and CIOs have built these hub and spoke models, which were great for the time that they were used, where everything was hosted on-prem, right? A hub and spoke architecture where you put your enterprise grade firewall and protected your network, and that's how everything was hosted. But if you look at traffic flows today, actually, they've changed dramatically, right? So people are working from home, applications are hosted in the cloud, Office 365, Salesforce, etc., right? So how do you protect all these users that are no longer in their traditional locations, like sitting in the office or hosted in the data center, right? So there's a new paradigm where identities are actually the new perimeter, right? Something where we talk about a zero trust network access approach that is better structured, or a better model to protect users that are anyone and everywhere. And the approach should be that you should not trust anybody, any type of resource, and it should be a lot more granular in detail, right? So that's also quite interesting that's happening in terms of the market. What's also, I guess the other point I'd like to share is, if you look at the typical enterprise, right, many companies are still approaching particular problems with a single point solution, right? So for example, you might be on an MPLS network and looking to reduce your cost of connectivity, and you're probably exploring a technology like SD-WAN. However, that is just one feature or one capability as part of your entire arsenal to manage your wide area network, right? So if your users are trying to connect to the cloud, then you're probably exploring products like cloud acceleration and cloud security, right? If you're in, the logistics space and you need to ship packages all around the world, then you also need branch security and a global backbone to be able to reliably provide optimization to those resources, right? COVID has accelerated the requirement for the mobile devices, right, and security posture there. Right? All this enterprise grade capability used to be for the office, right? Not for the road warriors, right? They were nice to have, but now it's more important that you also focus on the remote. So that's another solution that you need to implement, right? And when Gartner coined the term SASE, right, they said, actually, all this innovation, all these features, and I hear this from CIOs as well, right? These don't interest me that so much anymore, right? All this different capability. What we really need is optimized network and security, right? And this complexity of going out and addressing a problem one by one through a point solution is simply unsustainable, right? And SASE is an architecture. It's not a new technology, right? So if you look at all these different solutions out here, what Cato has essentially provided, and Gartner agrees, is the best approach is instead of having all these users that are hosted everywhere with lots of different workloads and not being able to be protected efficiently or optimized, we need a new approach. And SASE is that approach, right? Bringing together all your network capability, like SD-WAN, WAN optimization, routing as a service, taking security like firewalls as a service, URL filtering, remote access, and via a cloud platform, do all your processing that would be required, as opposed to having to go out there and buy each individual solution, typically an appliance that you have to manage yourself, right? There's a better way to do that. Now, this cloud architecture that Cato has built from the ground up is a global network. It's a solution that you can access from anywhere in the world. All your users, branches, clouds, mobile users can connect in. We do all the optimization in a SASE architecture. And then we secure all the traffic that's passing through, right? So instead of having to, stitch all these different MPLS connections together, firewalls, URL filtering, VPN, and cloud products, right? In a software-based platform, we're doing connectivity and security in a single pass, right? In a SASE architecture, you can also get a single pane of glass, right? So you get visibility of all the network traffic, all the users that are passing through. And that can be either a self-service that you can manage yourself. It can be something that's co-managed with Eastern, or it could be a fully managed one as well. But the bottom line is it's a much simpler architecture, right? One that is software defined, agile, cost and efficient to run. This is Cato's global POP network. We've actually built 67 POPs around the world. They're all physical POPs owned and managed by Cato. So all the security and networking capability is at each and every individual POP. There's no need to reroute traffic to other locations. You can enjoy the benefits of the Cato SASE cloud all around the world. So if you've got manufacturing sites in, say, China, Thailand, or even the Americas, right? You've got the same security posture and the same optimization that's followed me all around the world, right? So that's very unique to a SASE-based architecture. So what does Cato propose in the future state, right? To be able to be better prepared for a digital transformation type exercise where you can compete and operate more efficiently, right? Instead of going down the path of finding all this different technology, which adds additional overhead, workload, capital investment, right? There's a better approach. You can flick a switch, right, all through software, right, to meet your entire WAN requirements, whether it be more optimized bandwidth with SD-WAN, a global backbone to provide reliable access all around the world, your complete security that can be consistently delivered in all locations for all users around the world, a cloud-based architecture as well. So if you're trying to get access to AWS Azure, right? Mobile connectivity, so this complete WAN environment that's available for people working in the hotels and working from home, and a management interface that allows you to consolidate all this into one pane of glass, right? Not separate management consoles where you have to configure, troubleshoot, and manage. It's a fully managed service offering, right? All updates, all patching are done for you in a cloud-based architecture, right? So what was very interesting as well, so I had the pleasure of listening to someone from PCCW yesterday, and I think with a lot of you also in the retail space, right? Bricks and clicks, right? So with retail moving a lot of their users and demand and research from in the stores to something online, right? Appliances that we used to go out there and purchase, right, are bricks, right? You have to do it yourself, you have to manage it, right? Whereas the new way of doing things is actually doing everything via a cloud-based delivery model, right? Something that is not limited by RAM, compute power, CPU, and simply removes all the complexity out of your network, right? And that's got what Gartner's talking about as the wave of the future, right? About 60% of enterprises will have adopted a SASE architecture. That's their prediction. And that's really going to remove that complexity that I think many of you are facing in the climate today, right? How do you survive in a post-pandemic world where everything's going online, it's going digital, You've got lots of offices and branches around the world, and you need to remove a lot of that complexity, right? I hear from a lot of retailers, CIOs, that are really facing that problem. How do I make my network just work efficiently and more simple without having to throw lots and lots of resource and people out there to do that? So hopefully you found that interesting, guys. And if you've got some more questions, happy to field them. But thank you for your time today.
Thanks so much. That was Eric Cheng of K2 Networks. Don't forget, guys, if you have any questions for our speakers, as early as now, you can send those questions in because we'll be getting to your needs. And we've discussed this before, that here on E-Huddle, we discussed it a lot, that because of what's happened, we forklifted our offices into our homes, and we need to be protected appropriately. And so really good points there, really good to see how these systems, how these companies are at work in helping you get protected. So again, don't forget to send those questions, guys, as early as now. You can send those in the chat box, and don't be shy. Really, we don't bite. Send those in, and we'll try and get to those later. Okay. Now, we do have one more speaker lined up for you today. What would be E-Huddle without one of your own Ka-Easterns, right? And so our Ka-Eastern speaker is a well-organized and creative professional with proven marketing skills and a desire to learn more. He possesses 10 years of experience working for a diverse group of organizations and clients. He has also gained some industry-recognized certifications from reputable organizations such as Cisco Cybersecurity, Cisco Internet of Things, Centiprof Working Remote Collaboration, Certified Digital Marketer and Google Digital Marketing, IBM Enterprise Design Thinking, and Ateneo CCE Brand Management. Ooh, very well-rounded individual indeed. So let's hear now from the Enterprise Segment Manager for Retail, Distribution, and Manufacturing Industry, Mr. Dindo Kabatingan.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Thank you also to George and Eric for sharing your time and insights. So let's begin. As the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic continues to transpire globally, enterprises across all sectors have been developing and adapting ways to transform its services, aimed at delivering a safe, stable, and smart consumer experience. The first half of the year, we learned how to bounce back strong, despite unavoidable setbacks. Majority of all businesses have migrated into cloud computing for their online presence. The work-from-home setup is inevitable, in which companies have invested on collaboration tools for remote working employees. As part of the now normal, it is very evident that some of the businesses are now investing in automating the business operations, which led to innovation of business models to virtual workplace and marketplace. The business sectors will keep on striving to sustain the growth and be resilient for the challenges that may happen in the future. Before we move forward, I want to share the inspiring success story of Tesla Motors from Elon Musk with you. Tesla entered the media spotlight in 2013 along with its CEO, Elon Musk, when it unleashed its flagship car, the Model S. By September 2014, the car hit all-time sales record in the US with 2,500 units sold. And in the first quarter of 2015, sales reached a new high at 10,000 units being sold. It is now considered a staple within the electric car stratosphere. So what accounts for Tesla's success? The company's current success can be attributed to its non-conventional supply chain management strategy. Tesla's engineers first designed a powertrain for a sports car named the Roadster. Launched in 2008, the 2,400 Roadster were sold on the road more than 30 countries. So what key learnings can we pick up from this? First, strategy to learn. Set up a clear roadmap towards your long-term sustainable goals, financing the journey with a short-term business case to find possible. Second, innovation to learn. Innovate firstly without compromising on any parameter. This requires focus on a smaller product portfolio. Lastly, engagement and advocacy. The combination of a great product and a revolutionary act to save the world is a successful consumer concept that can be utilized. Now that vaccines are becoming more available and social distancing restrictions are being relaxed in some regions, business leaders need to decide whether to bring employees back to the office, remain at home, or use this as an opportunity to adopt a new, possibly more beneficial workplace model, for example. And that's one part of the equation. Equally important are the right mindset and tools that will equip companies to successfully transition and adapt to business post-COVID. And of course, what will all that be without clear and decisive actions from the management, taking into consideration that input from the rest of the organization? And this brings me to my first point. The future is already here. In the now normal, it seems like the firms won't converge on a single workplace model, but it will instead go in many different directions as they seek out models that are tuned to their business needs. The post-pandemic workplace can be categorized into 5 models. These 5 workplace models are now our future and might suit your needs whenever you need to come back anytime soon. First, as it was, simply, the office might be more hygienic and adhere to stricter health protocols mandated by the government. The second is Clubhouse, which is hybrid model that serves as a social hub, the place people go to meet, socialize, and work together. And activity-based working is a third model. Employees work from an office, but they don't have their assigned working desk anymore. They will work around meeting rooms, huddle areas, lounge, etc. Hub and spoke is the fourth. Employees work from smaller satellite office or co-working spaces closer to where they live. Also, they get a chance to meet the clients face to face. And lastly, the fifth is the fully virtual. This is simply working from home until further notice. Success in any and all of the models rely on the two requirements: reliable connectivity and the right tools. Everyone deserves a trustworthy and reliable internet service provider, especially now that we are all trying to ease in the new normal. Next is weigh your options. Weighing your options means carefully thinking of all the possibilities or choices you'll make for your business to succeed post-pandemic. This involves, as mentioned earlier, finding the right workplace models, right technologies, and the right mindset. From a technological perspective, business leaders and management weighing potential options should look to their company's purpose and strategy, as well as their employees' preferences and work styles. And most importantly, what their customers need. In short, innovate with purpose, not just for the sake of innovating. Which brings me to my first point. Start with the customer needs and work back to technology. The innovations that have the most impact solve real customer needs while also improving, optimizing, or streamlining internal operations. Then, innovate successfully and stay ahead of the curve. The second point is that you need to foster a culture of innovation across your business and become highly responsive to changing customer needs. Finally, keep looking ahead. It is important not to get stuck in response mode for too long after the event. At its heart, innovation is all about driving change for yourself, not responding to it. If you stay focused on keeping up what's going on today, you'll miss valuable opportunities to shape the future yourself. In other words, you'll always be the disrupted, not the disruptor. Finding opportunities post-pandemic is a combination of timely, customer-centric ideas for change, practices that help you develop and test that change quickly, and the technology required to bring your new solutions and services for life. Given all of this, it may seem like unsettling time or daunting even to be making changes to the workplace and other aspects of a business. Yet, business sectors can't afford to hesitate because this decision helped define their path out of the pandemic and find opportunities to and success after the pandemic. There may be setbacks and adjustments required. Organizations should identify the most important processes for each major business, geography, and function and re-envision them completely with involvement by employees. It is also important that employees are provided with any and all training necessary to enable them to make desired change and follow this up with employee feedback. This will help organizations identify gaps in their training and available resources so they can make adjustments and improve employees' ability to adapt change. Taking all that into consideration, so how can businesses in the retail and logistics sectors be prepared for a post-pandemic future? We have to take a look at some emerging trends based on behaviors observed during and immediately following the pandemic. We see a rise in e-commerce. Before going into that, let's quickly differentiate e-commerce and c-commerce. The e-commerce or electric commerce is the buying or selling of products and services online alone. While when it comes to digital customer experience, collaborative commerce kicks in. Or c-commerce is when consumer gets everything they need from each other. like a consumer-centric approach of doing business that focuses on providing a positive customer experience both at the point of sale and after the sale in order to drive profit and gain competitive advantage. According to the study, C-commerce says that 97% have the plan of continuing their future spending through collaborative commerce. Also says that 42% through chatbot conversation was their initial action when shopping online. And lastly, 36% of the consumer determined that the business is legit and trustworthy through online inquiry. So these insights from the Philippine market shows that majority of us have already been adopting the innovative tricks of commerce. The C-commerce have gained the trust and confidence of the consumers and vice versa. Therefore, online navigation is an integral part of our daily lives in the now normal. Retailers are well positioned to adapt the post-pandemic business environment due to the accelerated period of digital transformation that we have witnessed in the past 12 months. The retail sector has become more agile than before. In this report, it shows you a fresh take and optimistic perspective on what the current business landscape lies ahead. And different strategies, such as physical stores experientials like a pop-up store for a limited period, boosting digital presence like ad boosting, SEO, and SEM, and omni-channel approach to thrive. The retail sector has adopted limitless opportunities in workplace models like hub and spoke and fully virtual, which I have mentioned a while ago. Some of them have transitioned to work in the co-working spaces nearby and to meet clients face-to-face with safety precautions. Logistics and transportation are now digitally connected. They are now investing in the game-changing technologies such as automation, AI, IoT, big data, and even robotics to build efficient, environment-friendly, and sustainable businesses. In the now normal, digital revolution is enabling these sectors with connectivity of speed, consistency, and predictability that are crucial to running such large-scale network operations efficiently and thriving in the competitive tech-driven market. By the way, in the pursuit of a modern networking solution that can constantly support increased traffic volume, improve real-time communications, secure cloud connectivity, reduce operational costs, and catalyze digital growth, transport and logistics sectors are now turning to SASE, or Secure Access Service Edge. Just like Eric said, this is part of our commitment to provide world-class connectivity and sustainability for businesses, and more simplified wide area networking solutions to the enterprise sector. All this takes into account not only the shifts in consumer behavior, but equally changes in how work will be done post-pandemic. And all this opens new doors or opportunities that we can all take advantage of. And I'd like to share the Eastern story. That's our story. At Eastern, it all starts with knowing exactly what our customer needs. Our conversations with them starts with, how can we help you? That's what we did pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and definitely will continue to do post-pandemic. We listen to them and make sure that the services we provide are aligned with helping them maintain or grow the business. We make sure that we adhere to the international best practices and standards, and have acquired accreditations and certifications to establish our competency not only to provide best-in-class solutions, but also be able to support and maintain this with stability and uniformity. Fortunately, we recognize that we had to adjust to better serve the evolving needs of our customers and industries that we served a couple of years ago. So we transitioned from being a telco provider to an ICT solution provider. Aside from connectivity and voice solutions, we have a full suite of collaboration, cloud, and cybersecurity solutions. This pandemic forced us to accelerate our digital transformation journey, and we had to quickly pivot and shift our focus even more to non-core and non-traditional products and services. And by doing so, it opened a lot of opportunities for us. And we are enabling our customer to discover business opportunities as well. And as part of our commitment to serve the needs of our customers and potential customers across the country, we push forward with our expansion plans, which is currently in full swing. And I would like to end up my presentation with a quote from Charles Kettering. There exists limitless opportunities in every industry. Where there is an open mind, there will always be a frontier. Someone with an open mind is receptive to the experiences of others. Knowledge will most often come in the aggregate. That is why crowdsourcing is now becoming an accepted practice for gathering ideas, and other forms of information. This kind of information swings the door to inquiry wide open. So the more you admit you do not know, the more information you can take in. Thank you, everyone, and back to you, Carla.
Sir Dindo Kabatingan there, thank you so much for that presentation and for wrapping up all of our presentations of the day very, very nicely there. And I think he's right. And I think all of us are very much aware, of course, that commerce businesses have transformed, have pivoted, and it's become almost inevitable now that we need to be online. We need to be aware and secured in our online transactions and how we communicate with each other. So much has changed, and it's good to know that, I guess something that we all share, no matter what our industries are, just like with Eric's presentation, no matter what your industry is, there are common points that we all have to think about. And in this case, in terms of Sir Dindo's presentation, he said reliable connectivity and the right tools are very, very important. And it's really good to know that Eastern, of course, is always ready to provide those for us. So we'll be welcoming our speakers back in just a while, but I think it's time for a quick breather, don't you guys think? Now, if you joined us here on E-Huddle before, you know what's up next. But if you haven't, we're going to take a breather by having a quick electronic raffle, courtesy, of course, of your friends at Eastern Communications. Now, it's very, very simple. How does this work? Well, if you are the winner of our electronic raffle, I'm sure you all registered beforehand to join us today. And so if you are the winner of our electronic raffle, we'll be flashing your names on the screens. And if you do see your name on screen, all you have to do is take a screenshot, make sure you send that file to us. There you go, all that info displayed for you on the screen right now. So you're gonna take that screenshot and email it to us at marketing@etpi.com.ph. Subject line shown right there, together, of course, with your full name, company name, address, and contact number, because we want to get those prizes to you as soon as possible, right? I mean, we all want to get our prizes ASAP. And so here I am talking about these prizes, but what is actually at stake? Let's take a look right now. For our minor prizes, we have the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K and a Xiaomi Smart Band. Really cool, and those are just our minor prizes, guys, because the major prize is that lovely, so pro-looking JBL hybrid wire over-ear headset with a flip-up mic. You gotta know all the functions, guys. That's why the name is so long. Okay. So stay with us because it's time now to announce the winners of the minor prizes first. So again, get ready because we're about to show those names. And if you're confident it's you, get ready to take that screenshot in just a moment, starting with the winner of the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Let's find out who it is. Roll that drum roll. Congratulations to... who's it gonna be? Alvin Jeremill Temponco. Congratulations to you, Alvin. You are the winner of that lovely Amazon Fire TV stick. Take that screenshot now, Alvin. You gotta do that right now. I'll give you a couple more seconds there, okay? And we got one more here for the minor prize winners. So we're gonna roll that drum roll one more time to find out who the winner of the Xiaomi Smart Band is. So let's do it. Congratulations to... let's take a look right here. Gerald Reyes, congratulations to you. You won that Xiaomi Smart Band. Take a screenshot right now, Gerald. You gotta do that now because you gotta send that screenshot to us. A couple more seconds to do that. Okay. Congratulations to the winners of our minor prizes. Now, if you didn't see your name on screen, don't worry. Maybe you are destined for that lovely JBL headset that we showed earlier. And we'll be announcing who won that one in just a little while. But first, I'm to be joined once again on screen by some lovely gentlemen. And by the way, if you have questions still that you've just come up with now, maybe you've still got a tiny bit of time to send your questions in the chat box. But you gotta do that right now because I'm about to welcome our speakers back on screen. Because it is time now, everyone, again, for our question and answer portion. Now, sadly, Mr. George Royeca could not join us for the Q&A due to prior engagements. Very busy guy. I'm sure we all understand. But no worries, because with us still here today are Mr. Eric Cheng and Mr. Dindo Kabantingan to join us here on screen. So, let's do that right now. We've got 10 minutes to address these questions. Gentlemen, would you mind? There we go. Sir Dindo, Sir Eric, can we hear each other just fine? See each other just fine?
Hi,
Okay,
Carla.
good
Hi,
afternoon.
everyone.
There we go. You know how it is. We always gotta check, right? no matter how far along we are in this pandemic and with this video conferencing stuff, always gotta check. So, gentlemen, I've got some questions lined up for you. Are we ready for our general question first?
Sure.
Okay, let's hop to it. So, general question first up is this one. The post-pandemic business landscape brings with it its own set of challenges and opportunities. What do you think companies should do in order to be able to adapt and future-proof their businesses and take advantage of these opportunities? What should companies do? Let's start with you, Dindo.
Well, companies should reevaluate and assess their processes on a regular basis. This would give them an opportunity to check and see what they can retain and what they need to improve or change. Aside from this, they should also check the technologies that they need or that are using and determine the effectiveness of this. Should they retain them or find solutions that would help fill any gaps? And Eastern can help in this aspect. We can sit down with them, discover, and exactly how we can help them.
Great, thanks, Dindo. And I like that first part of your answer in particular because you have to regularly check. It has to be a routine. You can't just do it once and say, "Nope, I'm good." Because we're in such a volatile environment compared to how it was pre-pandemic. We're constantly, adapting, constantly pivoting. And so really, really good point there. Eric, how about you? What's your take on this one?
Yeah, look, I tend to agree with Dindo. It's an ever-changing landscape that I think every business has got their own unique challenges. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's going to depend on your company requirements, where you geographically spread, what are your consumers doing. But look, at the end of the day, right, there's a few things that we need to keep top of mind, right? With all these, changes in the pandemic, right? It means our businesses have to adapt and they have to adapt quickly in order to survive, right? So, where is that for your business, and how quickly, how securely do you know how to do that? How do I ensure I'm, implementing a suitable level of capex and opex to give me the efficiencies to be able to meet the customer demand, my internal users' demand, and ultimately, serve the business, right? The pandemic has changed the world that we live in today. That's not going to be the same. The now normal, right? It's not going to go back to the old normal, right? So, how have consumers changed their behaviours, right? So, are they going to require I understand there's a lot of logistics and manufacturing type people here. Well, so what are the consumer behaviours now that we need to provide? Are they looking for a more online experience? Is it more face to face? Is it in the shops? And what are the platforms and systems and marketing and people and products and services they're going to meet that type of requirement, right? Because me as a consumer now, maybe I used to love going down to the store and spending hours in the shopping mall for that bag. Maybe I'm going to spend that doing that online now, right? So yeah, it's really about understanding, having the detailed view of what my consumers trying to achieve in a new normal, and how is my business going to be able to serve that purpose moving forward.
Nice, thanks, Eric. And I think we can't just count on, or we can't just hope that our old customers are going to be bullheaded about all these changes and say, nope, I'm still going to go to the shops, whether or not there's more risk involved with going out. I'm just going to do all my shopping still physically, and no one's going to stop me. But that's not how it is. Like you said, even us as consumers personally had to change the way our behaviors, have been and currently are. And so I think it's constantly something that we have to consider and we have to actively listen for. Now, Eric, I'm gonna toss another one your way real quick here, because something that you mentioned is business pain points and how we share some common pain points as businesses. So this question here says, could you cite a sample major business pain point for the retail or logistics industry that SASE can be a solution for?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess from a retail and logistics, right? Commonly, most of these organisations have lots of different branches, right? Typically, very spread out, right? For regional, national, and global coverage, right? And I guess the problem for these guys is with so many different locations and so many people and locations to serve, how do you get visibility of what's happening within these, right? Scarcely, in a very small retail or a logistics branch, you're not going to have a full-blown IT team, right? So important is, well, what's happening exactly in those particular locations? How do I rapidly deploy new stores, whether that be opening something, migrating, right? I need something that's going to be allow me to operate seamlessly. If I want to do a pop-up store, I need to be open in a couple of days. I don't have to wait a couple of months and send in an entire SWAT team to deploy something like that, right? So, I guess, come back to, the biggest pain point is how do I ensure that as a business, right, I can operate efficiently, but still meet the business needs without having to deploy something that is a full stack solution, right? So that would be where I see a lot of companies that we've worked with already that have deployed SASE get a lot of business benefit, right? A cloud-based delivery platform. I really loved the chat this morning, right? Talking about these, the traditional model doesn't always work, right? There's always a better way. Problems don't disappear, and you're always going to think about, okay, well, how do I operate? And Cato is definitely, a lot of the things that I heard in the first presentation today were kind of struck home because that's similar to what Cato does, right? Which is bringing all the technology and all the traditional ways and say, actually, hang on a minute, guys, let's take a step back. There's actually a better way of moving forward, and that's, a cloud-based delivery platform. We're seeing a lot of benefits from that.
Absolutely. I think cloud has shaken up industry so much, and to this day, I would say there are still many who are still experiencing cloud-based technology for the first time. Maybe they never had to deal with it before. They were doing it the old way, maybe even printing it out and giving physical copies, and so the reaction to cloud-based work has always been one of wonder, one of awe, because of the way it has revolutionized the workplace. And it's so great to continuously see that evolving and expanding for different businesses. And so it can apply to anyone, any business, even individuals and professionals. I've got another thanks for that, Eric. I've got another general question for you guys here. I'm going to toss this one to you first, Dindo. It says, what behaviors or trends that emerged during the pandemic do you see sticking or continuing post-pandemic? Eric just told us that, it's not going to go exactly back to the old normal. So what are your thoughts on this, Dindo?
Yeah, actually, we saw consumers and we ourselves embrace digital. From online shopping to online banking, we saw how a lot of us adjusted and became comfortable using technology to go about our daily lives. And based on these insights we have gathered on consumer behavior and the industry that we support, this will most likely continue even after the pandemic. And this will contribute to the continued rise of technologies like cloud, artificial intelligence, AI, Internet of Things, IoT, and security, which are all needed to support digital technologies and trends. And so businesses needed to be able to keep up with this. As I mentioned, e-commerce and c-commerce earlier, George talked about ang fast and some useful tips from their own experience, and Eric talked about SASE, or the Secure Access Service Edge. So taking all this together, again, I would like to stress that companies must be agile in order to address the needs of the consumers post-pandemic by constantly taking a look at their processes, people, and technologies.
Thanks so much, Dindo. And you continue to echo, I think, similar themes that we always keep driving in. It's a point that we keep driving in here on E-Huddle because it's just so important. You gotta be agile. You gotta be constantly evaluating, constantly checking. And like I said earlier, I think it's really heartening to see that Eastern is on the ball with this and that they are constantly checking. How can we help? Is even just starting with that. And so thanks for that insight, Dindo. Same question for you, Eric. What behaviors or trends that emerged in the pandemic do you think are going to stick?
It was very interesting to hear the very first, presentation talking about, motorcycles and the impact of productivity, right? That's had, right? So remote access, I see, is something that, or people working from home, I think will continue to trend more so, right? In the past, people who were working from home in hotel rooms or even traveling, they were dealt as second class citizens for the enterprise, right? Let's work on all the cool projects, and we'll make sure that the CEOs and the senior management are looked after. But people on the road, then you'll get access to a lower grade of technology and things like that. But fortunately for us in the world, there's technology now that can enable you to deliver that across your entire organization, right? Make sure that the remote workforce are now actually the top of mind rather than the afterthought, right? So I guess we see that continue to trend. I see businesses continuing to evaluate how they can reduce their cost and become more adaptable. And I guess that the cloud transition is going to not, it was already on its path, but I see that as something that's going to accelerate in a post-pandemic world, right? How do we become even more agile, etc., right? And that's, I think that's the way forward for many organizations.
Yeah. And I think your point ties in nicely with something that was in Dindo's presentation, which was that we still have several options before us on how people are going to go back to work post-pandemic. Will it be as it was? Will it be semi-remote? Will it be, a hybrid of this and that, or just as needed? And so, so I think it is definitely going to play a part, remote access. Now, okay, I think we're out of general questions. It was just those two for the both of you. So I'm going to toss another one your way, Eric. This one here says, would you recommend to the business owners or CIOs who are currently using SD-WAN to replace it with SASE?
Yeah, 100%. Look, SASE, like I shared in my presentation, SASE is just one feature of, SD-WAN is just one feature of a SASE requirement, right? But for a business to survive, it goes beyond just having one technology, right? So I guess for the guys who don't know SD-WAN, SD-WAN's it's a very great technology. There's about 60 vendors out there in the market, and it's a brain essentially that sits in your branch and says, you know what, what's the best way to get from my branch office to my cloud or to my data center and things like that. But unfortunately, right, the entire business is made up of more than just SD-WAN, right? You for every project, every time you want to go to digital billboards, you want to move your payment systems from on-prem to online, you want to transform your voice system, right? Every single one of these projects that these businesses are running, the bottom line is I need reliable connectivity and I need to be able to do security, right? And something like a SASE platform, right, has the ability to do all of that via software, right? Removing all the pains of having to transition in multiple technologies, multiple vendors for security, right? And do it through a software-based platform, right? Agile, scalable, right? We heard today, right, the success of Apple, right? Why was it so successful? Because they took different technologies, right? You had an iPhone, it could take a picture, it can send email, you had an iPod to listen to music, right? All these, but Apple brought it all together. One single converged solution that can manage everything, right? And that's what SASE is really all about, bringing this cloud native approach to ensure your businesses can adapt for any type of application or challenge. Just install a new app and then boom, you're instantly good to go, right?
Yeah. I also appreciate from your presentation that Cato really intends to make it simple, make the process simple, as painless and uncomplicated as possible. And so we did get to see that in your presentation and what you just shared now, of course. And so I think that will really open more doors to more industries not being afraid to kind of take this on, right? So thanks for that, Eric. And I've got a question here for Dindo. And it says, in relation to retail trade, what technology levers are non-negotiable and which are game-changing technologies that companies who are planning to engage in or are already engaged in e-commerce cannot afford to miss out on? What can they not afford to miss out on?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to say that having stable and reliable connectivity is definitely a non-negotiable. Then the enabler of e-commerce is cloud computing. This would enable to be agile and scale up or down as needed, or based on demand. Plus, you only pay for the resource that you need or use. Then the right collaboration tools will allow you and your team to work efficiently and effectively in real time. And since you're handling more data than you used to, you have to make sure that your data and your customers' data is secure. And this is where cybersecurity comes in. We at Eastern have the right solutions you need to be able to take advantage of opportunities like e-commerce and other business trends. We have our very own Eastern Cloud collaboration tools like Microsoft M365 and a full suite of cybersecurity solutions.
Thanks, Dindo. And that's just about all the time we've got for questions. But if I may say so myself, I think to have players like Cato and Eastern here in one room and one panel, and to really get to talk about these things, and I in my perspective, I'm not a necessarily a technology industry person. I mean, I'm your host, I'm your moderator, but I think you've managed to make this conversation so much more open, so much more relatable and understandable for people. And I really appreciate that. And I'm sure everybody tuned in does appreciate that as well. Now, before I let you go, gentlemen, could I get a quick closing message from each of you? Let's start with you again, Dindo.
Sure. First, I would like to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. And I hope you were able to get insights on how you can maximize opportunities for your businesses. Please keep in mind that Eastern is here to help you discover more opportunities, and we are committed to making sure your business grows post-pandemic. I encourage you to reach out to your account managers. They will be more willing to sit down and help you uncover limitless opportunities. With that, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and have a nice day. And be safe, Eastern.
Much appreciated, Dindo. Thank you. Eric, closing message for all of us?
Yeah, look, thank you, Easton and Carla, for inviting us again to this session. If you found SASE is interesting technology that you'd love to hear about, please work with the Eastern team. But I guess, my biggest takeaway from the session was that very first story was actually very inspiring, right? And that's what business is really all about, right? Being able to help fix opportunities, not just for, organizations, enterprises, but for the local consumer and the household as well, right? And that's absolutely what Cato and our DNA has been all about, right? Making everything simple, security, networking. It shouldn't be as complex as the world has made it over the last few decades. And SASE is something that can absolutely help with your future technology requirements. So again, thank you again for inviting us.
All right. Well, gentlemen, for you as individuals and the groups you represent, for all that you do, thank you so much. And thank you for being with us this afternoon. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yes.
Okay, everybody. That is all the time we've got for our Q&A, but I'm not going to let you go just yet. We got a couple more things, a little bit more ground to cover here. So do stay with me. Don't you hit that X just yet. Stay with me, because first and foremost, we can't stress enough this next thing we're going to show you, which is the QR code to our post-event feedback form. We really want to hear what you have to say and what you can suggest. Maybe what do you want to see more of here on E-Huddle, and we would love to just hear you out and see what we can apply to make E-Huddle even better for you. So please do take a moment to scan that QR code and let us know your thoughts. Okay. All right, everyone, we are getting closer to the end of today's session, but let me remind you again. Let me remind myself again, but don't worry, I didn't forget about the major prize of the day. We really held it as our grand finale of the day. And so if you didn't catch our electronic raffle earlier, we gave away that sweet Amazon TV Fire Stick and that awesome Xiaomi Smart Band as our minor raffle prizes. But now it is time to give away the big prize of the day. If you missed the instructions earlier, let me go through it one more time real quick. If you are the winner of our electronic raffle here on E-Huddle, we're going to be flashing your name here on the screen. And if you see your name, all you have to do is take a screenshot and send that screenshot to us. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Send it to marketing@etpi.com.ph. Make sure you give us your full name, company address, and your contact number to make sure we get those sweet prizes to you. And like I said, we have one more major prize to give. Let's show those. What is at stake? We've given away the smartwatch. We've given away the TV stick, Fire TV stick of Amazon. And now it's time for that JBL hybrid wired over-ear headset with flip-up mic. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's a very fancy piece of technology, so maybe that's why. And it's certainly going to be a major prize. So I'm just going to stop talking and show you guys who is the winner of this major prize, shall we? So congratulations to Wilson Riffle. Congratulations. You are our major prize winner of the day. Wilson, quick, you gotta take that screenshot right now because you're gonna need it. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to do that. Okay, congratulations to you, Wilson, our major prize winner of the day. Now, congratulations as well to all of our winners from earlier and now to Wilson as well. So again, don't forget to get in touch and send those screenshots over because we want to get those prizes to you ASAP, right? Who wouldn't want to get their prizes ASAP? Now, before we move things along and wrap things up for the day, I'm going to be really makulit about this, guys. We're going to flash that QR code one more time because we would really love to hear from you. We want to hear what you have to say about E-Huddle. And maybe you could even suggest, who do you want to hear from? What do you want to see more of in terms of topics maybe? How did we do? How am I as a host? Whatever you want to say, let us know so that we can serve you better. Of course, Eastern is always after how to help, right? Gosh, guys, time really does fly when we're having fun and when we're learning great things as we did today. And we are now at the end of today's webinar. But before we say goodbye and to close the session, may I call on Eastern Communications Sales Cluster Head, Miss Jenny Velasco.
Thank you, Carla, for that introduction. It is such a pleasure to be here today and to see that we are gathered here as like-minded individuals who love learning. We hope that the insights shared today will become your weapons in growing your business and help you see more and more opportunities ahead. This is only the first run for this quarter, and there are a few more coming up, so please watch out for more. You may join us next week, July 28th, for the second leg of this series. As we close, please know that your account managers are always open to talk with you for your business needs. Go ahead and reach out to them. It will be worth your time for sure. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Stay motivated, keep safe mga ka-Eastern.
Miss Jenny Velasco, thank you so much for wrapping things up for us today. Always good to hear from our ka-Easterns. Now, everybody, it is almost at the very end of our program. Don't hit X just yet because can you guess what I'm gonna show next? Yes, it is our QR code once again. we wanna hear from you guys in case maybe you set up to grab your coffee or to grab a snack earlier. Here's the QR code once again. We would really love for you to scan this and let us know your thoughts, okay? That is our post-event feedback form that you can take a look at after today's program. All right, friends, that is all for today. This is only the first of our Limitless Opportunities series, so make sure you stick around because our next session is next week, July 28th at 2 p.m. right here at Eastern E-Huddle. And of course, you are welcome to be with us and to join us and learn more with us, right? So stay in touch by following Eastern Communications on their social media channels. There you go. We hope you all had a great time. We know that we definitely did. This is Carla Barreto signing off, and we'll see you next time.